Hey everyone, welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
This is a show where we take 3 comic books united under one theme. We talk about them, review them, rate them under some sort of unknown criteria, and then let you know what we thought about them. Rating them the good, the bad, and the ugly. So here we go. Today we're going to be doing a DC Secrets of Sinister House. I was trying to come up with what we were calling DC Spooky Stories.
That's it, yeah, that sounds good.
It's from the DC Spooky Stories.
There we go.
Ooh. Secrets of Sinister House #1 is an anthology. DC has put out many holiday-themed anthologies, whether it be in December, now. I think they do one sometimes in the summer. It depends.
Like a swimsuit special?
Yeah.
Yeah, or I know they've done a New Year's one.
That's how you get the bat trunks.
Yeah. So we are going to be doing 3 stories from this anthology: Nightmare Mist, The Footsteps of Old Worm, and Calling Dr. Bonkers.
Sweet.
Yeah, I picked these out.
I know. We all read them.
I made you read them. So we're going to start off first, I think, with... I'll open it up to the thing because usually you just hand them the book. We're going to start off with Calling Dr. Bonkers. Ben?
All right. This is Calling Dr. Bonkers, written by Paul Dini, with art by Cian Tormey.
Yeah.
In Nevada. There's a truck rolling through the desert, and it is Zatanna. Zatanna just got done with the show.
All right.
And she wants some time for herself. She's towing a trailer. She's got this old-timey car. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she just wants a little bit of peace and quiet. But she's driving through the desert, and then suddenly there's a body. Well, not a body, but a person. Not a dead body.
This is getting spooky already.
A person
scared.
on the side of the road. And she's like, who the heck is out here stranded in the middle of the desert in Nevada? I better stop it. Oh my God, it's Harley Quinn. Drive, 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 drive! She tries to hide down. My favorite panel in this entire book is her slumping down in the seat.
Just low riding.
Yeah, just oh God, no.
There's no way she saw me.
Harley Quinn, of course, jumps on the car. Even Zatanna mentions, how does she know it's me? Other than the fact that I'm towing a trailer with my name on the side.
Emblazoned across the side. Thank you.
So Harley Quinn was trying to escape Halloween because every Halloween kids come out for trick-or-treating and they're all dressed like her. And her friends come out trick-or-treating and that's okay because they're also dressed like her. But then all these creeps also come out dressed like her. And she's like, you know what? I've had enough. Get in my car. I just go and drive until I can't drive anymore. And Zatanna's like, you stole a car, didn't you? She's like, I stole a car because I don't own a car.
No.
So they are driving for the night, and Zatanna's like, I can't believe I picked you up. You have to promise, just please don't be crazy. Harley Quinn, of course, doesn't. She's like, come on, we should stop someplace. It'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll sleep over.
Yeah, it'll be like a spooky night in the or a nice night out in the desert.
Yeah.
Zatanna's like, we're not that far away from Vegas. I just want to drive straight there and get you out of my car.
Right.
She doesn't say that last part, but she's thinking it pretty hard.
We get it.
So they're driving along, a flash flood hits, and Harley gets her wish. They have to stop at a hotel. And the hotel is called the Clown Around Inn.
And I think it's not called the Clown Around Hotel, but I think there is a real clown-themed hotel in Nevada.
I think there is.
I am not surprised.
Like creepy dolls and stuff. And I feel like I've seen that before. So I was like, it's kind of fun.
Zatanna's like, well, you got your wish. Hope you're happy. Mm-hmm. And of course, Harley's so happy because she's like, look at this place. It's a clown-themed hotel. I'm one of those. They go inside. The guy that runs the hotel is like, hey, welcome in. It's crazy out there. And on the TV is a show playing called Dr. Bonkers. And apparently, this is a show that Harleen had seen when she was very little with a clown physician, Dr. Bonkers. And there's a theme song. I'm not going to sing it.
Thank you.
We get it at least twice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
3 times.
3 times. Once, twice, 3 times a clown. The guy running the desk is so happy that Harleen likes the show. He's like, oh, Dr. Bonkers would have loved that. And they're like, what do you mean, Dr. Bonkers? He's like, well, he's the one that made this hotel. He founded it. Unfortunately, he didn't get to see it into its fruition because he's buried out back in yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this clown, this TV doctor-themed clown retired and then decided to create a hotel that's more like a halfway house for clowns.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys keep calling it a hotel?
Yeah, it's more of a motel or a no-tel because this place is really run down and gross.
I mean, it's an inn.
Technically, it's an inn.
It's a motel.
Yeah. This is a side-of-the-road place.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You don't want to stop. You kind of have to stop.
Yeah.
No.
So, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. Harley says that the reason that she became a doctor is because she saw Dr. Bonkers.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, that's fine.
All right, Paul. And because Paul Dini created Harley Quinn,
That's canon.
Right. There's a giant cemetery out back, and you're like, so that's where Dr. Bonkers is buried, along with who else?
Yeah, who else did he murder?
Yeah, it's insane. So the guy shows them to their room. There are little clown dolls everywhere. And that is my first clue of be like, we have to get the fuck out.
Yeah. We would, if we were stranded and we stayed in one of these hotels, first night, just open the door. Okay, yeah, we're sleeping in a
Yeah, like the clown dolls in the like lobby.
It's like,
I don't want that.
I don't like that,
fine.
but we can get away from it.
The clown dolls in the room?
Okay, we're gonna have to go.
That's
Like-
a little presumptuous.
No, we're taking shifts. We're all driving throughout the night.
Yeah.
Carly is actually like cuddled up with a couple of them, passing out, like smack dab right away. And Zatanna's like, of course
I hate
she
this
does
place.
that. Well, I'm gonna grab a shower and try and wash the filth of this place off of me. She opens the door to the bathroom. Immediately, there are 3 menacing clown figures. Big, full figures. She just shuts the door, goes, Harley. Harley's being dragged out of the room by the little dolls. And you're like, okay,
Sweet.
I see what's going on.
Uh-huh.
They're all possessed little dolls. Even the big ones are mannequins. They all attack. Zatanna fights back with her magic. She gets Harley up. Harley's like, hey, is it morning already?
Yeah, that's her.
As it turns out, the little dolls gave her to the guy that checked them in. The guy that checked them in is just made of dolls. Like, he's wearing a man's suit and mask and skin.
That's so horrible.
It's horrifying.
The image is amazing.
But also, that means they practiced really hard because he looks good.
Yeah,
they
it's,
don't
it's,
know
they're
it's
way
them.
too convincing.
I love them crawling out of his neck.
Oh.
Like they flip up the top of his head and they're just like crawling out that hole.
Yep. Harley goes into
Harley mode.
Harley mode, starts going crazy, and Zatanna's like, look, it's not the dolls. There's something possessing the dolls. We have to figure out what it is. As it turns out, it's Dr. Bonkers.
What?
He rises from the grave.
Yep.
Little weird mirror thing that he...
Yeah, the doctor
wrapped around.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, when doctors in the 20s, hilarious.
Yeah, I guess it was to shine light
Yeah, it was to
into
reflect
something,
light.
but you also had a hole in the center so that you could see through it where the light was shining.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
Yeah. Did you learn that in this book?
No, I learned that a long time ago.
I was gonna say, like, you're just imparting this knowledge.
I'm just trying to...
I thought I missed it. I was like, oh.
No. Anyway, the Dr. Bonkers.
The
Right.
doctor. I don't know
The
if he's a
doctor.
licensed
The
doctor.
doctor's in.
He does say the doctor will see you now, which is perfect.
Oh.
He's
Like,
like,
well,
he's like nobody
he's-
cared about me.
And people used to love clowns, and now everyone hates clowns.
Right.
Like, kids are scared of clowns.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, based on you crazy zombie clown.
I'm not scary. Look at me. Dropping off everyone.
Popping out.
Rosh Fletting. Yeah. Sorry, I was doing a Zatanna spell. Where I was
Yeah,
trying
hey,
to say it
wow, now we've got,
backwards.
now, oh, great.
Sorry. So Harley's like, hey, the world is not so bad as to what it was. You lost your faith, but that doesn't mean that clowns are bad. You showed me the light. I wanted to become a doctor because of you. And Zatanna's like, you're doing it. You're convincing him. You're getting away his anger. You're showing him that people still care and that people love him.
Yeah.
Maybe not him, but clowns.
The clowns, yeah.
And Harley sings the theme song to the opening of the show.
Yep.
And then presses on his nose, because the song always ends with the beep
Yep.
on the clown
On the nose, yeah.
And she presses it, and like his spirit is released, and all the mannequins drop, and the dolls are gone, and it's fine. The nose is left.
Yes. I love that.
And Harley's like, oh, it's great. I'm just gonna put
Don't
this on.
put that on your face.
It could be filled with possessed energy and residual stuff. And then Harley like screams and freaks out and scares Zatanna. And she's like, I got you. The look on your face. And then in the last panel, of course, is Zatanna like has Harley in a straitjacket. She's her assistant for the show.
Yes.
And Harley's just like, freaking magicians, no sense of humor. And that's calling Dr. Bonkers.
Yay! Thanks,
All right.
Baldini.
Yay.
All right, now we're going to turn our attentions to a part of the DC universe that we've been to before on this channel.
Yeah.
You can, I don't know if he's gonna put a thing in. Could be somewhere.
Oh, a card?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay, cool. Sal, why don't you tell us a little bit about Nightmare Mist?
Oh, yay! So I, when I was reading this, I forgot that this was new. So there were like references where I'm like, whoa, that's it. Oh wait, this This came out like last year. Red Rain Batman in Nightmare Mist is by Raphael Albuquerque and Raphael Scavone.
But the art is done by Raphael Albuquerque. Like,
Right.
both of them worked on the story,
Yeah.
but then Albuquerque wrote it.
Exactly, which I think is awesome because, of course,
And wrote.
Albuquerque's from
American Vampire, which is
and
written by Scott Snyder.
I've never seen American Vampire Raphael Albuquerque on Batman. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the story opens right after the last chapter in the Batman Vampire Saga.
Yep.
Which, of course, if you know your Batman Vampire Saga, is that Batman dies at the end. Spoilers for a big, long arc of Elseworlds Batman stories.
Yeah.
And so Gordon, who is, I think, the last survivor of like the Trinity, like Alfred dies, Batman dies, but Gordon lives.
Yeah.
And so Gordon is just kind of decompressing in his apartment, listening to the radio, and just kind of like letting it all kind of wash over
Because
him.
like the news is talking about how like, oh, Bruce Wayne died of a terrible, like the terrible blood disease.
No,
Just like the news is like, it's just a blood disease. It's fine.
We're not talking about how vampires are real. No,
You don't
no,
see
no.
the V.
Yeah. So he's like, vampires, whatever. Meh. And apparently also vampires killed his wife,
Yeah, they killed Barbara.
which I didn't remember from that story, but he's lamenting her loss. And like, whatever. If we want to retcon it, that's fine. Who cares? No one's arguing with anybody about the vampire
That
saga.
might have actually happened. I don't remember.
But Gordon falls asleep in his chair, and then we cut to the outside of Gordon's room, and there's an owl. And you're
In
like,
front of a full moon.
yeah, and it's like, oh no.
I read that and I thought it was Vampire Hawkman.
I just was like, oh no, it's gonna be a were-owl?
Well, that's funny because when I first saw the image, I thought it was a were-owl, but it was the Joker.
Whoa.
Because like I didn't actually read it. I was just flipping through initially, and I was like, wait, no.
So young Barbara's asleep in her bed, and she is visited by the were-owl when vampire Batman shows up. But I love it because Talon's like, you're scaring the girl, you filthy vampire. Because remember, Talon's not a vampire, he's a were-owl. So
He was designed by the Court of Owls to fight Vampire Batman.
Exactly, which is a big-ass retcon, but I love that twist. So Talon takes little young Barbara away and swoops out the window. Batman explodes into a flurry of bats chasing after him. I think it takes place after that, and they retconned it because Gordon thinks that Batman's dead,
Okay.
right? Because Bruce is also dead. So
Okay.
Batman gives chase. He frees young Barbara and then is like, stay here, and then goes and fights the Talon. And it's like a very quick fight. He literally just grows claws and beheads the Talon. And then scoops up little Barbara into his arms.
Oh, but he also explains the reason for the Court of Owls doing this. They're taking the children because they're growing.
They're making more talent. Yeah.
They're making an army.
They're making an army.
Well,
yeah.
they're also picking people whose parents have died by vampires to, like, kind of indoctrinate them to hate vampires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And more
we're,
along with Court of
we're
Owls.
building like an underworld kind of story where it's
Yeah.
going to be were-owls versus Batman vampire. So there, yeah, but Barbara is one of the lucky recipients.
Yeah.
But Batman saves her and beheads the Talon.
Yeah.
And then,
Which is like really dope looking.
oh, it is. Oh no, the art is incredible in the story. So Batman returns young Barbara to her room, and then he tries to smile at her, which frightens her, and she screams bloody murder, and then he leaves, and which wakes up Jim, and then he goes to check on her, and he's like, "There's monsters outside, but you're safe with Daddy," and keeps her close.
Yeah.
And we see like Batman kind of being like sad.
He's just standing. Well, he's watching.
He's watching over them, but like
Yeah.
I tried to smile. My humanity's gone.
Yeah, well, Talon
God.
also accused him of like, he's like, oh, you're here to save her, but like you might just end up killing her.
Yes, like
Yeah,
you know,
the
if you,
hunger.
yeah, if you keep her for too long, like you're gonna eat her. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not. Not as long as I keep my humanity.
Yeah, and like he's just holding her. And
Yeah.
It's just like it's like because his desire to keep the city safe is so strong,
he
can
is
fight
able
it
to
back.
keep it at bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he smiles,
But then he smiles, and that.
which is just honestly creepy anyway.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't really smile.
No, but when he's got like a whole grill full of fangs,
It's not a good.
It becomes
it's
an issue.
not a good look.
Yeah.
No, little Barbara, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah. But this is just a cute little story.
Yeah, that like puts like a Talon
Yeah,
into this universe.
it weaves the Snyder's influences
well,
ever.
Albuquerque
present.
worked with him.
Yes, on American Vampire.
So like,
it makes sense. And
yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
I'm okay with it. Actually, this is the coolest the Talons have been in forever.
I kind of wish they were just like this.
Yeah, like, you know what? Just do it.
Like it's like a man bat kind of thing. Like it's like another.
Yeah, they steal Langstrom's formula, they make werebats.
Well, I was gonna
or
say it's like
were-owls.
something that is like has a supernatural element, but it really is not. It's like scientifically based.
Yeah,
And like, but you could do a whole story where it's like people think
that they're werewolves.
that there's something like otherworldly happening, and Batman's like,
No.
no. I know. One time I saw a ghost nun.
That's it!
No. No!
But no.
But I don't
draw
know.
the line at werewolves.
My last one is I'm going to do The Footsteps of Old Worm, written by Dan Waters with art by Sumit Kumar.
Yeah.
This is during the time period in which the Atom was Ryan Choi.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like he's still, but Ray's missing.
Right.
Which is like how you can cement this in continuity.
Yeah.
Ray Palmer.
Right.
Atom.
Yeah. But like we're dealing with Ryan Choi, and like essentially we like tag in with him like kind of remembering a recent event. He's at Ivytown University, and he's like, okay, it's from the Journal of Ryan Choi, and he's like, and it's very like horror movie-esque when you read this. Like he's just like, you know, like I've read about suicide, seeing it written, blah 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 blah. Like he's talking about like the horror of all of this, and he's like, so let's talk about what happened. Right?
Let's do this book.
Let's here we go. So like,
There I was, a young nubile teen of my 20s.
nope.
This isn't Dear Penthouse
No.
or whatever.
Never mind.
So like there was
I never thought it could happen to me.
there was a demolition crew that had been working on tearing down a house, and like something happened, and like inevitably one was left. Like there was only one survivor of the demolition crew, and they had to put him away.
Yes.
Like in an asylum, like in a padded cell where he's like strapped down, and like he all he could do was like scream and shriek and yell about footsteps that only he could hear, like of an old worm. He can hear the footsteps of old worm.
Right. What does that mean?
Right? He's like, okay, cool. Right? Like,
Well, worms don't have footsteps because they don't have feet.
right.
So he's definitely crazy. That's why they put him away.
That's it. Lock them up.
Ray's like, if they hadn't like lashed him down, he would have bashed his own skull in trying to stop it. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's crazy.
Whoa.
That's crazy. That right there, that's crazy. But,
No,
like,
no, crazy is tattooing a lot of ha's on yourself.
That's how you
the word
know.
damaged.
That's it. That's it. This guy's not
True
that crazy.
madness.
But like he's lucky because at least he's alive. Some of the other workers, for example, one of the guys, I guess the foreman, like had been like also hearing these footsteps, and he had a buzzsaw, and he took care of that.
Yes. Because the idea is they're bashing their heads in or cutting their heads off to like
To cut the worms out, to cut the sound,
sound.
the footsteps out.
Like, I can't take it anymore.
Right. So he gets a call from like this woman who called for, you know, Dr. Ray Palmer, and like was told to get in touch with Ryan.
Yeah.
So Dr. Wallace is the woman who calls him and is like, hey, like, you know, Ray's absent, you're getting me, and she's like, can you still
Are you
do
a
the,
Dr. Choi?
can you do like
No,
the
but I can still shrink though.
that's all I care about. You can
All
do
right.
you can shrinky dinks, we're good.
Done.
And like, so basically she talks about like, she tells him a little bit about what has happened, and he mentions like, oh, are you calling me here about earthworms? She's like, look, I'm an ecologist, I work with the local fauna, but the fact is there are no earthworms in the ground around here.
Okay.
Like none here, none in the surrounding area, and that's not right. I mean, like rain should bring them up, and it has rained, and it
Yes.
hasn't happened, so we don't know. But like they were working on this old house, and like everyone wants to get rid of it. It's an eyesore. It's terrible.
I think he even comments where he's like, oh, good, we're getting rid of this old house.
Yeah.
I hate this place.
He says, nice looking place.
Yeah.
It sucks. But that like she mentioned something about like black magic and weird visitors in the night, and like nobody has wanted to touch this place
Yes.
at all, and so they were just going to get rid of it. And I guess like she wants to know what's going on in the foundation of the house, right? So like since there's no basement and the place is a disaster, they need someone tiny to go in
Yeah.
and like figure this out. So she's like, oh, should we set up communication? He's like, no, I'm fine. So he goes in on his own, he crawls through, and he's like,
Peace.
he tells us, he's like, earthworms make their like tunnels by eating dirt and then expelling it at the back end. So this was not fun.
Yeah.
This was not fun.
He's using the earthworm passages to get into the place. which is
Exactly.
gross and cool.
Yeah, no, it is. And so like he ends up having to get even smaller because like he comes to like an area that has like a porous mineral, and like he's standing on it, and he's like, I kind of wish I hadn't investigated what it was, because he realizes he's standing on bones. And so like there's a skeleton in this hole that he's in.
But worms don't have bones.
But these worms do. No, he's literally on like on a human skeleton, and he's like, I think this house has its own tomb, and I'm inside of it.
Right.
So okay, that's solved, I guess. And so then like he finds or sees like a slithering mass, and he goes up and he's like, and there are the worms. Okay, but they're not doing anything. They're just kind of hanging out in a big ball.
Like they're waiting.
Yeah, for something. And then he touches the bones, and he can feel these vibrations. And like, you know, he's like, I guess this is what called them here, and it must be more enticing than like the rain. And he's like, it's like it's really steady, almost like pulsing. He's like, I don't want to say it, but it's almost like footsteps.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no. So he gets even smaller. He's like, let me go in a little further.
Oh, this is my solution. I'm just gonna get smaller.
How about if I get smaller?
What if I get smaller? Yeah, try that.
Adam, that's your answer for everything, man.
So
And it works.
he goes into the optical canal, and he's
eye
like,
hole.
yeah, like bam, right in there, right in the eye groove.
Yeah.
Woo.
And when he's there, he sees something like this,
Yes.
like glowing light, and he's like, you know, like, I would assume maybe it was natural or whatever, but all I know is there it was. And then he starts listing some of the things that it could have been. And then like you see these like strikeouts where it's like interdimensional rift, like non-humanoid being somehow grown upward from the microverse.
Nope.
Alien life form, an entity based on a vibration rather than carbon matter. And then he's
Nope.
just like, I don't know what it was.
I don't
I don't
he's
know what it
freaking out.
was.
That was cool. Because
Yeah.
you know he's writing it after the fact, so he's like freaking out again.
Yeah, he's like, okay, no, science.
It's
So like, as it like grows closer to him, seemingly, like he begins to speak to him with vibrations right into his head, and like
Yeah.
makes his teeth rattle as he's talking to him, and like
Maybe you shouldn't have gotten so small, man.
right, and the words form within him, and it asks if it's time for the old worm, or for old worm to walk upon the earth.
what?
Which I love
That's
because
like a
that
Lovecraftian-
yes, that brings on like that Lovecraftian, like, you know, elder like god kind of
Yes.
feel. Like there
Is
is
it time
there's
for the-
some being, some place that wants to come here.
yeah.
And like then he like calls out to the worms, which Ryan's like, I don't know the word that he refers to them as, and the closest thing I can think of as acolytes, but there is no word.
Yep.
And I'm like, I love that.
cool.
That's Lovecraftian right
Yes.
there. It's like you don't understand, you can't possibly know because you're not of them.
Yeah. You can only inarticulately explain
And
it.
then he runs away.
Yeah.
I'm
he's
also
like-
gonna thank them for not writing a gibberish word.
Right.
Me too.
No, it's just because it's just him telling us.
Yeah.
And so then like he runs because he's like, I'm not proud of it, but like I was scared.
I'm fighting elder worms here.
Yes,
Forget
and
it.
all the actual like regular worms start grabbing at him, and they pull him into them. And he's like, I'm embarrassed to say I didn't remember to grow big, because that's how panicked he was.
Yeah.
So like as he's like being drawn into them, like for whatever they were going to do, he grows big, and like he's pressed up against like the lid of the coffin he's
Yeah.
in, or like the tomb, and like the skeleton is just slithering with worms.
Yeah, there were many more worms now than there were
Yeah.
like a minute ago.
Right.
Yeah. And so then he like, it begins to like
Form over the
form
skeleton.
and like grow like, you know, life, and like starts to like rise up. And he's like, I didn't care for that. And so like he screams, which helps them to find him, and like the skeleton the skeleton just explodes on its own.
No, he crushes the skull.
Well, he crushes but before
Afterwards.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Like it rises up and then it explodes, and then he screams and they find him, and then he crushes the skull. He's like, so
Enough of that.
he's like, I don't know, and I will never know what that was. And like seemingly the tomb and the body were before the house was there.
Right.
So it's like the house was built around it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that like the vibrations went away, and that like he feels like, I guess like that like Ray would have totally figured it out.
It
and
would have
like,
taken the skull with him
he
and
would-
analyzed
yeah,
it.
but
and
he's like,
figured-
but I broke it because it's like now.
No.
Yeah.
Fair.
He's like, I didn't do
No.
any of those things, and he's like, but instead I will lay here in the dark and flinch every time someone walks by outside.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Because he can feel them.
Right.
because of the
he's
sound of the footsteps. He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Our choices are Nightmare Mist, Footsteps of the Old Worm, and Calling Dr. Bonkers, guys.
Right. Which one's the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Yeah.
Ah, man.
I don't know. I really liked all of them.
Yeah.
For their own reasons. They're all very different styles of horror.
Agreed. Yeah. Well, and one's a campy kind of like Treehouse of Horror kind of fun
Yeah.
Halloween story. The other one is more of a like superhero action story.
It's
and
like it's a creature feature.
it's a creature feature, and the
Yeah.
other one is a straight up like horror,
Yeah.
nightmare thing.
Yeah.
I mean, based on the premise alone of just like, here are some scary stories.
Yeah.
I think the Worms one is actually like the most well executed. Like the Batman one, I like that one the most because it was the most straightforward.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's nothing about it that changes or adds anything. Like the only thing that you get is the Were Owl, which I think
Yeah.
is a really cool addition.
Yes.
But you don't need this story to get the were-owl. You could always just like introduce that at any point.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, like the art's so excellent, and the, you know, the little tale of, you know, Batman like kind of watching over Gordon, even though like if it's taking place when I think it does, like Gordon tried to kill him.
Yeah.
And he's still like, no, I'm Batman. I'm saving.
Yeah, I can't help it.
Like it's cool. But that's more of a Batman story.
Right.
Like I'm applauding that they made new Adam interesting.
Yeah.
And that they like weaved in real Lovecraft, not like armchair phony Lovecraft, where it's like, I think this is spooky and has like the Cthulhu in it. You know what I mean? Like it's it's madness and horror, and you know you can't really imagine anything.
And a thing inside someone that you don't know what it is, some sort of essence.
Right, and it could have been lazy, where it's like, you don't know what it is, it's out there, and there's worms, and it made this guy. Who's the guy? What's it making? Is he like the extension of that thing? You don't know, but it doesn't feel lazy. It feels like there is an answer, it's just that you can't cognitize it.
Right.
That's really well executed.
Yeah, honestly, like that's my good. The Red Rain is my bad, and Harley Quinn and Zatanna is my ugly.
Easily. For
But
me,
like,
that's
none of them are bad or ugly.
No,
but
They're
like,
all fun.
But like, that's it for me, because like, I was like, when I picked this up, I was like, oh man, Red Rain, that's awesome. And I read that first, and I kind of flipped through some of the other ones, like a Constantine one in here, there's a Martian Manhunter one in here, and they were all good. But like, and I kind of skipped over the Atom one because
it's the Atom.
And then I read it, and I was like,
oh,
this is going in the show. We're doing this one.
They should just make that the Atom book. Or it's just Lovecraftian horror for no reason.
Now that he's touched on it.
Yeah, it's like he wakes up and it becomes this thing.
It's part of his life now. He can't avoid it.
It'd be so funny. Where it's like,
God.
oh man, I'm gonna pick up a cool Atom book. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then Ray Palmer comes back to take over the mantle of the Atom because Ryan Choi becomes Old Worm.
Or he goes crazy.
Yeah, or he's taken away. And like, so, you know, yeah, I'd take that.
So, wow, that was the fastest we've ever made a decision.
Right? Yeah, I think we're all in agreement.
To be fair,
We liked them all.
they were short.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
were short.
The stories were like little short stories, like almost half a comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they still felt like a full read.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
longer than a lot of the anthologies they've been doing lately, which have been like 2 or 3 pages, and it's not quite enough. Like this, you can actually get something out of.
Right.
Yeah, like, but seriously, like all the art was really good.
Right.
I really do love Albuquerque's art, but like that Atom book, like
Yes.
that was like.
Yeah, I like
came
the
out of-
I like the art in the Atom book the best. I
Yeah.
liked Albuquerque's art second best, and the Harley one.
Well, the Harley one, they had that fantastic moment with the clowns crawling out of the man's
Yes. Yeah, good stuff.
man skin.
Secrets of Sinister House is actually like a success.
I agree.
Just based on those 3, and we didn't do them all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more in there.
There is more in there.
But yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Congratulations, Adam.
Honestly, when this came out, it was $10. I picked it up for $1.
Good smattering of
Horror
styles.
styles. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
See you guys next time with an all new episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Oh,
Right.
I hijacked it from you. Ho, ho, ho.
You did. I just went with it.
Yeah.
You hijacked it like a flash flood hijacks a people trying to stay in a hotel.
Quick, now let's explode into bats and leave.
I can't do that. No.
We did.